Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Friday,
Hey,
everybody. Welcome to REI Happy Hour at 5. Hi, Luis. How are you?
happy Friday. I am doing pretty well. Just getting over this scratchy throat here.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, but doing well. Doing good. Busy, busy, happy, and it's Friday. So,
It is Friday. It's
yeah,
Friday.
it's
And hey,
Friday.
everybody, I want to tell everybody. So we're a little late. So we apologize for if there was people waiting right at 5. We apologize. Luis is Superman. He's the hero. He's filling in for Danny. Danny at the last second couldn't get on. He got stuck in that lovely Atlanta traffic, which I heard is horrendous. I've only been there once, and I got to experience a little bit of it. But Danny does apologize for not being able to come on. But thank you, Luis, for saving the day,
Yeah.
coming on last minute, grabbing a drink, you know,
Okay.
helping us out. So I appreciate it. So thank you so much. So everybody out there, my name is Ken Board. I'm a loan officer here with Campos Capital Group in Charlotte, North Carolina. Luis, tell them who you are.
I am
One
Luis
way.
Martinez. Yeah, I'm on this side. I'm a lending representative manager out here in Houston, Texas. The man that wears about three hats in the company. I don't know. I do it all. I do it all. I fill in lives. I assist. I help. And I'm the scapegoat in some cases. I do what I got to do. Do what I got to do.
I hear you. I hear you. So hey, so for everybody out there, you can message, tell us what you're drinking. If you have any questions, just say hello, whatever. Definitely chat it up. Say hello to everybody. We'll answer them the best we can if we get around to it. So I appreciate you coming on out and joining us. You can reach us every Friday at 5. You can also watch the recordings on Campos Capital Group's Facebook page. At any time, just go there, look at their posts. You can scroll down, find it, and you can watch it, record it at any time. So appreciate it. So that being said, we do have a special guest for you today that we will be introducing shortly, but just want to go over really quickly a couple things. Just wanted to talk about our 3 divisions really quick. As most of you probably know, Campos Capital Group, we are a direct correspondent hard money lender. We do have 3 ways to lend. So we are very flexible. We can usually meet any investor's needs. So definitely reach us if you're looking for funding for any of your investment properties. We also have Lending Highway, which is what helps us lend our money, right? Where we raise money. And if you don't want to get into the real estate game and be a flipper or, deal with the day-to-day, you can still invest your capital and make a great return of 12%. AYP, and you get that offer until the end of this month, so the end of March. So if you're interested, you definitely gotta do it soon, or that will be coming to an end. So a $50,000 minimum buy-in to do that, and you're kind of like your own bank, right? But we're doing all the work for you. So that's it, really. We also have Campus RE Properties, which is up in Maryland at this moment, but there's a lot of wholesaling and different things like that going on. So definitely check out all those Facebook pages if you want to learn more about it. So
Awesome.
that being said, I'm talking fast. Sorry, everybody. Just wanted to get through that as fast as possible because I'm so excited about the guests that I want to get through this so we can start, the important part of this stream. But my most favorite part, though, before we get to the guests, is we got to talk about what we're drinking. It's Friday. That's why it's called REI Happy Hour at 5. So let's talk about what we're drinking. Luis, I'm going to let you go first again like you did last week. Tell me what you're drinking.
Awesome. I'm keeping it classy this time. I'm gonna keep it simple with some red wine. I'm just going with this Borgo from my home state of California, Cab Sav. Can't go wrong. Does the job.
All
I'm
right.
keeping it classy. Yep.
Got it. I'm still doing what I did last week, man. I would just happen to be walking in the supermarket, right? And I saw this big bottle of Foster's Australian beer. I haven't had this in like 15 years. So I had to try it because I haven't had it in so long. I had to try it and see if I like it.
You know,
Not bad. It was only $2. It's not a bad
Lucky.
value. $2, and it is 25 ounces. It's not bad for $2.
What? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's it's kind of like a tall can, but just in a rounder shape, a little bit shorter.
Makes me want to go to the Down Under, man.
Yeah, I bet it does.
But anyways, all right. Let's stop with the games. I want to introduce our guest today, Maria Valverde, who is here in Charlotte with me. She lives down here and is an agent down here and an investor. So we wanted to bring her on. She's got great information to share, experience, everything like that. So welcome, Maria. I know you're out there. I know they're getting you on. There you are.
Hey, Maria.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me on this. I know it's not rainy on Zoom, but it's rainy here in Charlotte.
I know. It is. It's raining and cold. It's just, it's miserable.
I did not want to get out of the car this morning.
I didn't want to go in the I didn't want to go in the supermarket to grab my beer. That's how hard it was raining. I just almost didn't do it. But anyway,
I would just keep beer in the fridge or drinks in the fridge.
I usually do. I drank it all, you know. So I haven't replenished my my stock yet. So I had to I'm like, oh no, but I didn't want to go buy a case or anything. So I just ran in and looked at the single beers, and I saw this big 25 ounce. I can't even look at. I can't even wrap my fingers around. That's how big it is.
Nice.
Anyway,
don't make any dirty jokes.
Too funny. All right, well, let's get right to it. So, Maria, before we get into the questions, right? Why don't you just tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go from there.
Yes, and it's very interesting because I'm so used to doing lives in Spanish that my brain is like English, and normally I'm in English. My name is Maria. I am an investor and realtor here in Charlotte in North Carolina. I've been in the business about 4 years now. Time has truly flown. And we do a little bit of everything. We started as wholesalers. We still market direct to sellers. But I got into being a realtor full time. And so now I also work with clients, primarily investor clients, first time buyer clients. Hi, Jasmine. Hi, Francisco. Rodrigo. So that's kind of been my focus. As far as my realtor side goes, it's kind of just natural to the business, mostly because of the community that we have. A lot of people are a part of it. It's called I Am Legacy. So it's just natural. We helping people and they're looking for agents. So what better way than to, collaborate and work together in our community.
Got it. Very nice. Yes, and I will vouch for that. You guys are out in the community, and you do a lot for the community, and I think everybody appreciates it here, especially everyone that is in your network and knows you. And if no one has ever gone out and look up I Am Legacy, do different things like that for the networking groups they have, they do a lot. So we all appreciate it a lot. So thanks. Let me get to my first question. I had it up and then I did. I'm sorry, people, but I have to read it a little bit. So can you share an experience in working with real estate investors, particularly those interested in fix and flips, long-term rentals, short-term rentals? So if you could just share a little bit.
So we like to say there are two types of realtors who are working with traditional clients who are owner occupants. They're buying a house to live in it themselves. This is probably their only real estate investment. They have no experience. And then there's agents that are familiar with investing and their clients are looking for a rental or a fix and flip or some other kind of short-term or mid-term rental. My experience with that is those types of clients, I approach it from a numbers perspective. It's 100% numbers. It's not, if you're working with a traditional client, they're looking to see, is there enough natural light in this house? What's the school district? What is the neighborhood? Are there enough kids in the neighborhood? Is there a community pool? They're looking a lot at those things, which investors will very briefly consider, but they're more so looking at what are the comparables, what is the repair cost, what is the current price, and what does my profit look like. So very numbers based. If they are looking at a fix and flip, the numbers are also going to be very different than if they're looking at a rental. If it's a fix and flip, we're looking at what is the purchase price, repairs, what our commission is going to be, any other closing costs, any interest, if you're getting terminated. What are those numbers looking like? And then what is our ARV, or after repair value, with comparables? I'll get into comparables a little bit, but we're looking at what is your profit? What are you comfortable with? What is the return on your investment looking like? Now, if it's a rental, and I know we'll get into this a little bit more also, but we're looking more so at how much the rent is, what your mortgage payment's going to be. Are you buying this rent for cash? Which we, obviously don't encourage, but are you buying it cash? Are you doing a fix and flip loan and then trying to do a burner, to a DSCR kind of product, or some kind of cash out refi on a 30-year program? Or, what is the end goal here, so that we can see, is this rent going to cover your mortgage payment and any other expenses? So sometimes my clients will send me properties, and before I can even schedule a showing, I'm like, the numbers don't make sense. The rent's not enough, the loan's going to be this and that. And that's why it's very important to work with lenders like you guys to have their pre-approval. What is their interest rate looking like? What is their monthly payment looking like? If the house is $150, if the house is $180, if the house is $200, what do those payments look like? What do the taxes and insurance look like? We can kind of guesstimate those things. And then what would your cash flow look like? And would a DSCR product work here? If that is the product that they're trying to use.
Yeah, everything you said is like 100%. Like, even with like our side, being on the finance side, and even if you're looking, if you're an investor, obviously you need a realtor like yourself that understands investors. You need whether you're buying in cash or you're going to finance it. Like, all the things you do are very important, because it's going to show what their ROI is. It's going to see how much they're going to be able to do, or how successful they're going to be with the project. If it's long term, like you said, how much your cash flow is going to be. But like on the finance side, like, there are so many people out there that we get calls from, which we help educate, but they don't have the relationship and the value that you bring, because either they haven't talked to a realtor yet, or they have a realtor that doesn't understand the investment side. And we'll get sometimes pushback, like, just because they don't understand the type of appraisals we're doing. Like there's like, I've had conversations with real estate agents, through email or on the phone, where they're like, I don't understand. The value is this. But yeah, we're not looking at the current value. We're looking at the ARV. So sometimes they don't get it. So it's very important to find an agent that has experience with investors.
That's one of the biggest factors that I've seen when it comes to an investor looking for a realtor, is to be in contact and in communication with somebody that's going to represent them properly. That knows what they're looking for, understands the numbers, and isn't simply looking to make the most out of the commission, but to build a relationship with this client. So, because the way I look at it is that we want to build a relationship and have repetitive business. We're not like a one and done type of lender. We want to be here for all of your financing needs. We know we're not going to be perfect for every situation, but when we do, fit that script, we want to be part of it. We want to be in there, and we want to make sure that you're getting the numbers right and getting the information on in a timely manner. Because the way I typically work is when I speak to an investor, is I'm going to give you a proof of funds letter to make sure that you have the money to be out there and be looking for a property. Secondly, when you find that property, you're going to want to give me enough information for me to provide you with terms to see if it's going to be a viable option for you to invest in. To look at those numbers and being able to communicate with a realtor like yourself, Maria, and have you provide that information where we can collaborate together with a client. It makes for that much better of a experience for them, right?
And I think it's very important, even on the traditional side, before we submit an offer, anytime before we submit an offer, I am sending the property address to the lender for them to confirm, because we're not perfect. We're not going to, get everything, but usually they will say, hey, okay, yes, they're good. This meets their debt to income ratio, again, on the traditional side, but also even more so on the investment side, what are the rental comps? What are the comps looking like? Um, because people are risking due diligence. And the problem is that what we see in the community is people are so eager to get started on their first project that they just jump into it and then analyze the situation after, and they're putting at risk their deposit. And you do this a couple of times, and that adds up. Sometimes in the traditional side, we can get a little lower on the deposits depending, on if it's a multiple offer situation or not, how competitive it is. But on the investment side, you're seeing $3, $4, $5,000 earnest money deposits usually, if not more. So it's very important to do your homework up front. Now, you can't do research every single little piece, but that's what your lender and your realtor are for, so that their experience serves as your own, and you can eliminate or at least significantly lower the risk of losing a deposit or there being.
Right. And
Yeah.
and then there are other factors that you want to consider when you're kind of looking through your investment strategy, right? Like you mentioned, if you're going to hold on to the property, you want to look at market rents and things of that sort, and also other conditions of the market. And with that being said, that kind of leads us into our next question, which is going to be, how do you analyze market trends and property values to help investors make informed decisions?
So that's a very interesting point, because everybody has their own way of looking at things. I am very analytical. I want to see comps for that particular neighborhood or within that mile. Some people, they're like, Maria, but I found this comp or I found that comp. And I tell them, I'm like, yeah, but it's not within a mile, or it was last year. And unless we absolutely have to, we're not going to do that. So our local MLS gives a lot of information every month. They put out statistics. For example, in Charlotte, some statistics, and these are good things to know, so we know how the market is trending. For example, the average sales price for January year over year, these are all year over year numbers, went up 7.3%. So sales prices are increasing in Charlotte. No surprise there. Days on market are decreasing. We're down 10% year over year. So houses are selling a little quicker this year than last year. Sales are lower. That means, inventory, or sales were a little lower this month compared to last year. And that's no surprise, because I think interest rates and just the winter months, etc. And then new listings are up 10% year. So a lot of people are willing to put their houses on the market. Month supply is also over. It's at 1.6, so we have about a month and a half or so of supply on the market currently, and that's up 6%. So it's just interesting to see the trends and just keeping track of these things because as flippers, for example, Atlas had a property for sale for a couple of months, for a couple of weeks. It went on market right before the holidays, right before Thanksgiving, Christmas, that and that and so seasoned investors in a market, in a good market, like so. What I'm trying to get at is it's very important to know, hey, if I buy a fix and flip in October and it's going to be ready in December, my days on market are going to be a lot longer just because of the
Yeah.
nature of being longer and it
Good
being.
point.
So I've got to budget at least another month of interest payments on my hard money loan because it's just the nature of the market. Now, could it sell immediately? Yes, always. But statistically speaking, the likelihood of it selling quickly is not as likely. Why? Because people are in the holidays, they're traveling. They're not wanting to start moving, start packing during all of that. It's chaos.
Right.
Yeah.
So that house sat, and it actually just closed last week in February, went under contract.
February, yeah.
So, it did sell, but it took some time. So that's something to keep in mind, how you're timing your flips, what cycle of the market you're in. So if you're fixing a house right now and it's gonna be ready for May or June, then you're getting into the market, getting on the market right when it's hot for summer. Kids are out of school, they want to be done with everything in summer, figure out school assignments, whatever the case is. And a lot of people they know it's hot, so there's more competition, so they're waiting to put stuff on inventory when things pick up.
Got it.
So,
That's a really good point. Damn, I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't even think about that ever.
Yeah.
Really, I'm always so in the numbers because
Yeah.
we're on the financial side. I don't ever think about like, oh, what time of year is it?
your October closings, if on average, fix and flip takes 1 to 3 months. Your October, even September, October closings, like they're going to be affected by that winter
Right.
holiday market.
And that just seems to be the roller coaster, like the natural roller coaster trend of the mortgage industry, the housing market. And right now, one thing that I've been looking at and that has been reported rather consistently since the end of last year, coming into this year, is that we're kind of coming out of that inflation bubble where things have kind of frozen up because of the high interest rates, not a lot of movement, not a lot of inventory. Because of those interest rates, nobody really wants to sell. Nobody wants to get rid of the lower interest rates. But now that we've gotten notification that the Feds are going to start lowering interest rates, we've seen a little bit more of a movement, and it's kind of falling in line with this. I guess you could call it like the downhill slope of that roller coaster where things start to pick up. So we'll see. I'm expecting to see a lot more movement in this in our industry coming into these spring and summer months. So
Not just,
Yeah.
I think outside of the Feds predicting, that they're going to drop the interest rate, I think people just accepted the fact that these are the new interest rates. It's not just, they're not going to be at the 3s and the 4s and the 2s
No.
forever. Like, it is what it is, and so it's never going to go back down. I say never in quotation marks.
Yes, of course.
You're not going back down to where it was. This is the new normal. If you qualify as is, like, go ahead, because again, it's still a better option than rent. So I think consumer confidence in the market, and I think they see like it's stable and steady now. Charlotte has a pretty steady market, so we're seeing a lot of buyers excited to buy.
Yeah.
And ready to start the conversation. I have a lot of people contacting me saying, hey, I'm looking to buy, and which is great, but everybody's doing this, so we can expect prices to go up. That's just a fact because so many people are now more comfortable with the idea of buying versus in December during the holidays. I mean, it's a great time to buy in December. If you ever want to buy a house and you're flexible on it, buy in December, because
That makes sense.
yeah.
I
That
agree.
definitely makes sense. And really quick, just I'm gonna go down a few of these comments really quick. So Jasmine, subdivisions can play a huge role. Is her comment. And I got Danny Campos. Danny, if you're still listening, you can't co-host from the chat room, but I will ask your question. What do you look for in comps to help out your clients?
So I look at my comps to be the most similar condition, as far as, do they have a garage? Do you have a garage? Is it 1 story? Is it 2 story? Is it brick house? Is it siding? We're trying to make it match up as much as possible. But what I'm also looking at is, especially for a fix and flipper who is looking at budget, what is the minimum amount of work you need to put in? We're not trying to do a crappy job. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I went to a house today. I showed a house literally that was in a rougher neighborhood, like, meaning the houses around it were not of good condition. Just a rough neighborhood. They fixed up this house significantly. Not only did they do that, they put in a top of the line refrigerator. They put in a washer dryer. They did all of these updates that they are not going to get their money back for, because no comparable in that area is doing the same thing. I mean, they had one of the nice Samsung refrigerators. I mean, unless they bought it used, which I doubt, you never want to do that, because it's just, your investment is not proportionate to what your return is going to be, and you don't want it to be 1 to 1. You want it to be 1 to 3 or 1 to 2 at least. So I always give this example of a client that he wanted to put a driveway just because it looked better, and I told him, don't put the driveway yet. Let's just see what kind of feedback we get, because none of the other comparables have a driveway, a concrete driveway. So he didn't do the driveway, and guess what? Nobody said anything about the driveway. So he literally saved thousands of dollars that he would have done otherwise. And yes, it would have looked great. And could I, as an agent, have said yes? Oh yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think it will look nice. Yes. But that's not serving your clients. Like, let's look at the comps and let's see if this really is necessary to do.
No, that's awesome. I got a question. Since we're talking about this, how would you strategically, and it might be for the same for both here, but what do you think the big difference is strategically you should do if you're rehabbing and selling or rehabbing and holding? Do you think there's a difference on how you should strategically do it?
I think it comes down to your budget and what you want to cash out and refinance. So if you want to at least recuperate your money, it's like a backwards numbers game, right? Like, if you know what the house is gonna likely appraise for, you know what 80%, what are your cash out refinances at right now? 80%, 75%, 70%?
Cash out 75%, sometimes
75%.
80, but I like to say 75. It's a better expectation.
Right. So if you have your appraised, estimated appraised value, and you go back to 75% of that, that's what your cash out refi is. Now, if you have it in your budget and you're still gonna make X amount, and you still have in your budget to do certain things, then I would say do them. And I'll get into those things. But if you're very tight on your budget and you're maybe like on the cusp of breaking even and recuperating your money, then you're not gonna want to go all out. What I mean is, Formica versus granite countertops. Formica is way cheaper. You go to Home Depot, you cut it yourself, you put it together, put some caulking, like, it's fine. But what happens is that tenants, if they put something hot on the Formica, it's burning. Now you've got a burnt spot. Not just that, but you're also getting less in rent because it's not as high end of a rental. Someone will notice, hey, this is Formica versus granite. This is why it's cheaper. This is why this one's more expensive. Another thing is tile in the bathroom. Me personally, I hate tile. I love the look of it. I love the look, and I know it's a premium finish, but I hate cleaning it. And
Yeah.
you put tile into a rental, a tenant is not going to clean that tile how they're supposed to because we don't
Yeah.
even clean that tile at our house. How you've got a maid coming in there and like hand scrubbing the grout, you're going to
Yeah.
get mold, you're going to get that pink bacteria growing. Like, it's just a pain. So I would maybe just do, hey, if maybe later on I want to sell it, I'll tile it later on. But for now, I'm going to do a tub and a surround. That's very easy to clean, plastic,
Yep.
Stays clean. And then maybe I would run the LVP. Most people are doing LVP flooring. Run the LVP into your bathroom. It's waterproof. It's fine. You're not having to do tile. If they drop something and crack, it's not, it's not tile. You have to replace it and do a whole thing. So, and it
It's
looks
freaking easy to install too. I love LVP. It goes in best.
Yep. So I recommend running LVP into the bathrooms, whether it's a fix, unless it's a high-end flip and you really want tile. But a lot of people are doing LVP flooring in bathrooms, so I think that's fine. But I would be cautious about even the type of tile you're using. If you decide to use tile in your bathrooms, the little tiny penny, nickel, whatever they call it, tile, is the hardest tile to clean. So if you are gonna go with a tile, go with a larger format.
Large tile.
And do maybe like a shower pan instead of doing where you build your own and slope it and put some tile, like a tile
Yeah.
shower base. You could do a plastic shower also if you want to do something.
Yeah.
Those are some of the things that I would do. Not only is that cheaper, but maybe you don't want to go back in there and do the work, whatever. I would also not do a light grout. I would do a dark grout. And that's even in your personal home. I mean, again, I go back to cleaning and just the condition that I see houses after tenants have moved out, like people just clean, it's impossible to clean. It's very difficult to clean because the grout is porous. Now things like a roof, you're gonna want to do, change a roof. If the roof is end of life, like that's something that you want to invest in. If it's the difference between tile in the bathroom and a roof, go ahead and do the roof. Go ahead and do the HVAC, because those are the things that are the biggest pain in the butt. HVAC, especially, some people think
yeah.
get a couple more years out of it. If it breaks the following year, you're looking at $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. So I
Sorry.
cosmetic things.
What was that?
I've got 3 phones, 3 business
Oh my
phones, depending
God.
on what the call is for.
What about
and then
silence, son?
on my computer. So, my bad.
Sorry. What was the last part you said? All I heard was whoop, 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 whoop.
I was just saying that when it comes to the interior, if you're looking at cosmetic versus mechanical, I always recommend to do, roof, HVAC, plumbing, electrical. Do those updates first, and then
Yeah.
worry about tile later. Worry about granite later. Focus on the things that are going to be the biggest headache later on.
Got it. No, that makes sense. And Danny chiming in again. Maria, real estate investor and interior designer. Look at that, Danny. Danny's got jokes.
It's funny because for your fix and flips, there's pretty much a standard style. You're typically doing white shaker cabinets. Why? Because you want to appeal to the widest audience. You're typically doing white shaker. You're doing a lighter granite, quartz in the bathrooms. Maybe you throw in some design in the colors a little bit or the fixtures. But we recently bought our personal house, and I spent hours and hours and hours on our kitchen.
I bet.
When it's your own. It's
Yeah, it's
different.
way different.
A lot of compliments. Everyone's like, "Oh my goodness!" Like, I'm gonna have you come design my kitchen. Let me see if I can share.
Yeah, it's very, very pretty. I saw it.
Yeah.
Very,
So
very pretty.
that's the kitchen.
It's
Look at
beautiful.
that.
Yeah,
I
that's my
love the. Is that copper? Is that a
Right
copper?
here.
Is that a hood? Stove hood copper?
no. So
Or is it like
it's
stone?
like white. It's like they call it honey oak. So it matches the island, which you can't see right now.
Oh,
Um.
underneath.
Mhm. You can kind of see it kind of matches the flooring, and like this is what I love about working with um investors, investor clients, or even just my traditional buyers. Because I'm an investor, I have connections to contractors, to suppliers, and I give you better prices. That
Yeah.
hood, that kitchen, online, if you Google a hood for your kitchen, just the cover, okay, not the actual mechanical part that actually sucks the air out, but just the cover, you're looking at about $1,000 to $1,200 minimum.
Yep.
If you go to the local supplier we use for cabinets, they charge $360 for the same thing.
Nice.
So it looks very nice, very luxurious, but you're getting it at a significantly lower price.
Yeah.
People buy cabinets from Lowe's, and they a mid-grade cabinet from Lowe's still doesn't equate to just a basic product here at this supplier that we use, LNC Cabinetry. And I'm shouting them out for free because they don't pay me to say this, but I just truly
Awesome.
enjoy working with them because they give a great quality product custom to your kitchen, and they will beat the big name
Big box stores.
every single time. And people always say, "Oh my gosh, where do you get your cabinets?" I'm like, "This place down the street." Literally, I'm not kidding. At least half the price that most people are getting theirs.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
That's awesome. Louis,
Well,
shoot. Your turn.
next question. So for investors who are new to the market, what advice do you have on finding a real estate agent who is investor friendly and understands unique needs?
So I think the filter question, I think the first question you should ask a realtor is if they know a hard money lender. If they tell you yes, then you know they know investing. If they tell you no, they don't know investing. And if they tell you, what is that? What do you mean? I've never heard of that. You definitely know you don't need to.
Yep.
And that's not to say they're a bad agent. They're just not very investor friendly. Or
Yeah.
they may still be investor friendly. They're just not as well connected as you perhaps might want or need, or because you don't just need to know one traditional lender. You need to know several traditional lenders. I know you guys, work with a large community of people where, if you can't help them, you find someone else to help them. And that's how you keep those relationships going, and vice versa. That's why people come to you also whenever they can't help them. And it's, this kind of symbiotic relationship. And I think that that's like a big filter question is like, do you know a hard money lender? And if they, based on their response, you're gonna know, okay, what kind of hard money lenders do you know? Are you familiar with their products, etc. And then also, I think one of the questions we wanted to get into was like running rental comps. How are you running your rental comps, or where are you getting them from? Are you familiar with a DSCR loan? And a lot of times you guys, if they're working already with you and then you find a realtor and then you talk to the realtor, I don't know how you approach this, but you might tell your clients like, hey, I just don't think she's as familiar or he's as familiar with these types of products, or I don't know what you're communicating, but definitely that question kind of gets.
Yeah. It's how would you a little, I know it's not on the list, but how would you approach that with the client? Because I've had to ask, and I don't want to like step in between that relationship, or obviously I'm pro business. I want to make sure that everything's on the up and up. But I've had clients that they're like bringing me properties, and I'm consistently just having to respond like, you know what, that property doesn't really fit what you're looking to do. We just need to make sure that they're
Yeah,
conscious.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
So I like to. So there's two things. If their realtor is bringing them those properties, then you need to go to the realtor and talk to them and tell them why it's not working. But if my client keeps bringing me properties, I am going to show them the tools, because we can't comp every single property on the MLS. Like,
Yeah.
it's impossible. But I think it's important to share with them tools that they can use to do some kind of an initial filter, so that they themselves know. Because, of course, you're going to rely on me, but I feel like you should also know why it's a good investment and not just go off of what I'm saying. So
Yeah, of course.
I can refer people to certain websites, put in the information here, and it'll show you the comparables for the rentals. I know, for example, rentals, there's one called Renometer.
Right.
Renometer. But I really like this one called rentcast.io.
What's that one again?
Rent Ask?
It's going to be your new favorite rental website, I promise. It's called rentcast.io. And I think it's better than Renometer because it gives you rental comps. It like puts them out, and it's free. It's not like Renometer where you've got to like go incognito and like try and see if the subscription. It's actually free. So you put the address, put the square footage, put the bedrooms, bathrooms, and it will give you a list of recent rentals in the area and like an average, so you can see, which one's the best. And some agents, like, I can look at the MLS for rental comps, but they're not the best comps. Why? Because Mom and Pop over here and Joe over here and Juan over here, they're putting their properties for rent on Facebook, or they're putting them on Zillow. They're not putting them on the MLS. They maybe don't have a property manager. They don't want to pay a realtor to list their property on the MLS. So the MLS is not all encompassing to the rentals. I think it's a good starting point, but for rental comps, you want to go where everyone else is. Go look on Facebook Marketplace, or go look on Zillow, and see what's for rent there, or some property management companies. You can ask them like, hey, what do you think this would rent for? I've got property management connections where I can ask them, who would your opinion be? What are you seeing this could go for? Because they a lot of times aren't even posting them on MLS. They're renting internally, or they get so many applications that they just, people go on their website for inventory. So I really like rentcast.io also, but Zillow is good. Yeah.
And quick question on that. So I know a CMA is a comparable market analysis. You find comps. It's the comps report. What's the abbreviation or the name for the comparable market rents?
I don't know. I call it CMA.
CMA.
I do, people ask what's market rent. I'll just give comparables.
Market rent. No.
I don't know.
Cool. Just asking so anybody listening can kind of like focus in on like what to ask a realtor. So if you're out there and you're asking, like if we're looking to invest in a property and you want to get comps, I'll always advise my investors, if they're going to show you a property, they're looking to invest into this property, and you want to see what your comparable market properties are and see what that looks like, ask them for a CMA. That way they can help you get some comps. You can draw your own comps. I always ask them to give me their 3 comps, and then I'll pull my report. And then I'll mesh that all together whenever I'm submitting for terms, just to try to get the best idea and the best mix of information so that we can put our best foot forward when we're looking at obtaining terms, so that we don't have anything that's like out of scope.
Yeah, so, and it's a balance, because sometimes you're going to see a property before you run proper comps. Sometimes you run comps and from the beginning, it's not even worth our time looking at this property, or, just you
Yeah.
kind of get a feel for it. Every client is also different. That's one big thing that I want to emphasize is everyone has a different risk tolerance. So what this person over here, for example, I had a listing, and it had multiple offers. It was uh, the numbers were tight for a few, but we got offers for fix and flip loans, 30,000 under asking, 20,000 under asking. We got asking price money loans. Um, we got cash offers, 30,000 under asking, at asking, and then we also got uh, cash offers over asking. So all of those people, I kid you not, I got like 10 offers. All of those people had realtors. All of those people had the same property, the same asking price. They all saw the property, same condition. And they all had different opinions on what it was worth and what they were willing to pay. Why? Because one of them might have been a contractor and they do roofing, so the roof would bother them. Or one of them might be a drywall finisher, so all the interior work is a piece of cake for them. Or one of them might have to subcontract everything out, so their offer price has to be significantly lower than everybody else. And so a lot of times people say, I just don't know how they pay that much for it. Well, they have different resources, different capital strategy than you. And so what I always tell my clients is you have to focus on your best offer, on your terms, on your resources, and don't try to look and see what other people are doing and what they're paying for it, because at the end of the day you have to do what's best for you. So that house, believe it or not, I mean maybe you might, but they put $25,000 through diligence, non. There was no way anybody else was going to compete, and they were capped in a
Yeah.
we got higher offers, but their deposit was so much higher than the other ones. The other ones was like $10,000, and all the other ones were like 3, 4, 5,000. And they were coming in under asking, and they were like very persistent about their offer. I'm like, we just got cash offer with 25,000. I think it was a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Well, before Maria, before I ask the final question, can you tell everybody like how can they get a hold? How can they follow you? How can they contact you if they want your services or advice?
Yes. My phone number is listed here, and my email is mariabcrealtor@gmail.com, and I'm on Facebook, Maria Valverde. I'm sure I'm
Nice.
tagged everywhere.
Yeah. So the last question I have is what do you recommend, or who do you recommend, or what platform do you recommend when it comes to educational workshops, events, things like that, meetups? I know you're probably going to be in a certain area, obviously in Charlotte, but what do you recommend for people? If you do know any national people out there to follow.
So it's funny. Julio was actually talking about this yesterday or today, and YouTube. Like YouTube is the answer to everything. Yeah, back when we were in the car world, like if a car had a bad window motor, regulator, whatever, YouTube, no fail, had a video on how to fix it, and like we'd end up fixing things on the car. Like if you want to do anything in your house, YouTube. Same thing with real estate. I mean, you have to really research and know if it's true information and not just like false information someone's spreading. Go to several sources and see if you're seeing the same thing, and then go on Google and verify that information is true. But that's where we learned a lot of our stuff, a lot of our strategy. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of like Prince Marby and TTP, um, Bigger Pockets,
Yeah.
Mastery with Jerry Norton. Those are some of the big guys. And, at the end of the day, do your own research, but take that as like a good guide to learn that information. And then if you're local, obviously to North Carolina, Charlotte, we host a meetup last Tuesday of every month. It is in Spanish, but we get a lot of people that don't speak Spanish and just come to network because um, there's all kinds of people that come, lenders, contractors, investors, wannabe investors, seasoned investors, all kinds of people that you never know. You might meet a contractor that does concrete driveways or roofers. So you never know what kind of connection you're going to meet. Even if you don't speak Spanish, most everybody knows English. And then, of course, we've got our friends at CLT Buyers. They have a meetup once a month also. I believe it's the first or second Thursday of every month. So there's definitely a lot of communities here in North Carolina. And I encourage everyone to go to their local communities, look up the REIA, the Real Estate Investors Association, look up, just any kind of other meetup, usually on Facebook or Eventbrite, because that's truly how you connect with people and take action. I think you can get overwhelmed by the information or just strategies and things that you see online, but it's not until you get out there and talk to people that are actually doing it that you think, okay, if they did it, I can do it. And then if I have any questions, I call them. You don't feel alone in your journey anymore. And then a lot of people that are at these kinds of events, I'm not going to say everyone, but a lot of people at these events, they're willing to help. They're an open book. And especially in our community, we love helping the community and, sharing the information we have. We don't feel like we know everything by any means. I feel like the more I learn, the more I don't know. But we do like to share the information that we do know with, with the community.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Thank you for that advice. So that is it. We've been on for an hour almost. A couple minutes. It went by fast, right? So
yeah, I was drinking, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, yours.
Yes.
What is it?
It's a sparkling water, but I'm drinking a peach Bellini.
Peach Bellini. And what's the alcohol content in it?
0%.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I think that's why we didn't have you in the beginning. But anyway. No, but Maria, like always, you're awesome. If you're in Charlotte, follow her, look her up. In the North Carolina area near Charlotte, definitely do it.
Triad, so Greensboro, High Point, all of that. I have access in Raleigh. I'm just not as heavy with buyers over there. I've got more access to just, when I'm posting if you want more information or comps or whatever the case is. I can help a little bit over there or refer you to.
All right. Well, it was awesome. Well, right before I say bye to everybody, Danny is still making comments. He just misses us so much because he was in traffic, and he has to put his 2 cents in. Man, I missed this one. Thank you, Maria. Yeah, no, you know what? Plan your traffic commute a little bit better, Danny. That's what I got to say the next time.
He was probably working at a brewery, already having a beer or something.
All right. Well, thank you, Maria. Thank you, everybody. Everyone have a great weekend, and we